Hey guys, Mrs. Woodrow Rosenberg here, and I'm going to continue to work with that PSAT assessment that we did, the nature of the future dispatches from the social structured world. What I want to model for you today are some during reading strategies that you can utilize to make sure that you're monitoring your reading and you're conscious of what you're reading. If I use these types of strategies, if I'm thinking about the reading, it will help build my reading skills and it'll help me with comprehension. I'd already established when I did my pre-reading that the purpose of my reading was to answer some questions. And as I skimmed and scanned it, I noticed from some repetition of vocabulary and looking at some some proper nouns that my prediction was that this was most likely about technology and the economy and had something to do with other countries, because those are some of the key things that popped out at me. So I'm going to keep those things in mind. And as I read, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make connections between this text and some other texts I've read. I'm going to try to think about some connections that I have between this and my personal life, like maybe some things I already know in my background knowledge. And also I'm going to constantly question and ask myself questions so that I stay engaged and I'm maximizing, the amount of things that I'm comprehending. Okay, so here we go with the passage. It says, visitors to the Soviet Union in the 1960s and 70s always marveled at the gap between what they saw in state stores, shelves empty or filled with things no one wanted, and what they saw in people's homes, nice furnishings and tables filled with food. What filled the gap? A vast informal economy driven by human relationships, dense networks of social connections through which people traded resources and created value. The Soviet people didn't plot how they would build these networks. No one was teaching them how to maximize their connections the way social marketers eagerly teach us today. Their networks evolved naturally, out of necessity. That was the only way to survive. I remember reading an article about that, about the gap between what people had and what the government was offering for sale at stores when I was in high school. And one of the things that pops out that I remember is that the government, for some reason, they didn't provide good jeans. And so they always would tell Americans, whenever you go to the Soviet Union, bring jeans, you could probably, sell them, which I think might have been illegal. But I remember reading an article about that and how people really, really wanted jeans because what was available to them wasn't necessarily what they wanted. So it's interesting that this article starts off with that point, and that how they just evolved naturally to get the things they needed out of necessity, and they built social networks to do that. And I know the black market had a part in that too. So I'm interested. I already maybe have a little background knowledge about this. Today, all around the world, we are seeing a new kind of network of relationship-driven economics emerging, with individuals joining forces, sometimes to fill the gaps left by existing institutions, corporations, governments, educational establishments, and sometimes creating new products, services, and knowledge that no institution is able to provide. Empowered by computing and communication technologies that have been steadily building village-like networks on a global scale, we are infusing more and more of our economic transactions with social connectedness. This makes me think of virtual school. When they talk about education, virtual school filled the gap for people that needed to make up credits or people that wanted to do school from home and still wanted to be challenged. So that's interesting there. The new technologies are inherently social and personal. They help us create communities around interests, identities, the common and common personal challenges. They allow us to gain direct access to a worldwide community of others, and they take anonymity out of our economic transactions. We can assess those we don't know by checking their reputations as buyers and sellers on eBay or following their Twitter stream. Yes, we always check now. We check when we purchase stuff online. We always check to see what people's ratings are so we don't get scammed. That's a true point there. We can look up their friends on Facebook and watch their YouTube videos. We can easily get people's advice on where to find the best shoemaker in Brazil, or the best programmer in India, and the best apple farmer in our local community. I wonder, reading this, thinking about this, I wonder how this is going to grow in the future, because I can see just in my lifetime over the past 15 years how much that has grown, where we're able to access things and get people's ratings, and we can find out, okay, if I'm going to Seattle and I want to get sunflowers, who's the best sunflower grower? So I wonder how that will grow in the future. Like what more could technology do? We no longer have to rely on bankers or venture capitalists as the only source of funding for our ideas. We can raise funds directly from individuals, most of whom we don't even know, through websites that allow people to post description on their projects and generate donations, investments, or loans, just like GoFundMe. I had a friend who had a daughter who raised money on GoFundMe to buy a pet. It's pretty cool, pretty ingenious. We are moving away from the dominance of the depersonalized world of institutional production and creating a new economy around social connections and social rewards, a process I call social structuring. Others have referred to this model of production as social, commons-based, or peer-to-peer. Not only is the new social economy bringing with it an unprecedented level of familiarity and connectedness to both our global and our local economic exchanges, but it's also changing every domain of our lives, from finance to education and health. It is rapidly ushering in a vast array of new opportunities for us to pursue our passions, create new types of businesses and charitable organizations, redefine the nature of work, and address a wide range of problems that the prevailing formal economy neglected, if not caused. This makes me also think, when they're talking about this in my head, I'm thinking, excuse me, this makes me think of Etsy. Because, you know, I have a lot of friends that sell artistic things on that app, that webpage Etsy, where before they might not have gotten their stuff in galleries or had access to sell, you know, the clothes that they make. But now through Etsy, they have a whole network of people. So I can see, I can understand what they're talking about there. Social structuring is, in fact, enabling not only a new kind of global economy, but a new kind of society in which amplified individuals empowered with technology and the collective intelligence of others in their social network can take on many functions that previously only large organizations could perform, often more efficiently, at lower cost or no cost at all, and with much greater ease. Social structuring, excuse me, is opening up a world of what my colleagues Jacques Vallée and Bob Johansen describe as the world of impossible futures, a world in which a large software firm can be displaced by a weekend software hacker, and rapidly orchestrated social movements can bring down governments in a matter of weeks. This makes me think of Twitter when they were trying to change the healthcare system, the Obamacare, the healthcare plan they have in place now for people, and people were fired up on Twitter and they tweeted and they wrote to their representatives and they called, and then that got shut down. So I can see what they're talking about here. I wonder in the future what that's going to look like. I wonder in the future if more people are going to take social media opinions more seriously, and this will really affect a lot of these changes and a lot of the social structuring situation. I wonder about that. The changes are exciting and unpredictable. They threaten many established institutions and offer a wealth of opportunities for individuals to empower themselves, find rich new connections, and tap into a fast evolving set of new resources in everything from healthcare to education and science. Much has been written about how technology distances us from the benefits of face-to-face communication and quality social time. I think those are important concerns, but while the quality of our face-to-face interactions is changing, the countervailing force of social structuring is connecting us at levels never seen before, opening up new opportunities to create, learn, and share. Okay. You know, this article was not at all what I expected. I thought this was going to be boring about the economy because I saw so many things about it, but I really actually found this interesting. It wasn't as bad as I thought. So now I'm going to look at the global digital information. Digital information created and shared, 1 zettabyte. So this is, I'm back to that global information again. So this is probably going to have something to do with, I guess, you know, what I'm thinking from looking at this graph now and after reading that article, maybe the more global information that's shared, the more that stimulates the economy and this social structuring effect of, you know, people having access to things and getting things they need, you know, from education to healthcare, you know, whatnot, economic exchanges like selling things on the internet. So that's pretty neat. I'm glad that they have that graph there. So I've read my passage, and while I was reading, I made some connections. I thought about those connections. I asked myself some questions to keep myself engaged, and I was able to stay engaged throughout this whole passage. And I actually found at the end it wasn't as bad as I predicted it was going to be. So good luck. I hope that some of these strategies I employed today will help you as we move forward in the future with this assessment and other different types of PSAT things. So good luck and have a great day. Thank you.